Fuck, I just plugged my phone into my car and it lost the whole recording. I was recording part 2 for the anxiety thing. I don't know, I lost quite a bit. But okay, so then I kind of went through a little where I like kind of refreshed my mind a little bit or something like that, and I ended up going back to the fact that I thought it was so interesting to use the public recording idea as an example when to talk about social anxiety, right? So to put that in other words, basically, like, I was recording in a public place, right? And I thought it was very, very interesting or very, very smart to use that as an example to talk about social anxiety. Why is that? Why is it so interesting? For one, and sorry if I'm raising my voice a little bit, but my mind was going like blah, and I wasn't really digging in. I gotta dig in. Okay, so why is that so interesting? Why is it so interesting to... I'm not in a public place anymore, but say I was, okay? I was. Fucking say I am. I was, okay? But now it's just for fun, just for example, okay? So I'm in a public place right now. There are people around me. Why is it so interesting to okay, so if I was actually in a public place, why would it be so interesting to use that as an example when talking about social anxiety? The fact that I'm recording this video in a public place, like hypothetically, I'm not actually in a public place, but you know, for example, like why would it be so interesting to record the social anxiety video in a public place? Why? Why is that? Why is that? This is why, okay? And I might need a couple moments to gather my words and just think up why. I'm pretty sure it has to do with being on the same page. You know, if people could hear me right now, which they can through YouTube, but if people could hear me right now, see, that's a good point too. Like, people fucking can hear me right now through YouTube. So the fact that I would be feeling social anxiety if I was like in a mall right now, but not feeling social anxiety when like uploading a video to YouTube or like recording this video, is just crazy. what, though? The people listening on YouTube are choosing to. When you're in a place like a mall, it's a little bit different. So there's a little something there. But anyways, why is it so interesting to use as an example when recording this video the fact, imaginingly hold on. Okay. If there was actually people, like if my windows were rolled down and there were people outside of the car who could actually hear me, why would it be so interesting to be recording this video on social anxiety? Like if there are people actually out that could hear me making this recording, why would it be so interesting for that to be the case? When recording this type of video where I'm like, trying to figure out the solution to social anxiety, why would it be so interesting to record in a public place? The answer to that is part of the key. When the social anxiety video is recorded in a public place and the people are listening to what you're saying, or say I'm in a public place, right? If say I was in a public place right now and the people around were listening to what I'm saying right now, the reason why this example holds the key to social anxiety is because when you're in a situation like that, recording a video like this, everybody's on the same page. If if people were listening and up to this point now, we would be on the same page. Like up to, the realization, like if they're listening up to the realization that we're all on the same page, then we're all on the same page. And there's no social anxiety as people think. It might be, the situation might be a little weird, but you can't go through life and avoid all, you can't go through life without ever experiencing something that's like a little bit negative or, not very positive. Like, people who don't get social anxiety make mistakes and get embarrassed or very embarrassed depending on what has happened. Generally though, like if it's like something bad, then other people aren't gonna laugh at them or anything like that. Like, if it's something small and people are laughing, it's because they're joking around. You know, like, if you just say something stupid, they're like, you know, ha ha ha, like, how silly of you. Or, you know, they might just be yanking your chain. Like, friends fuck with friends sometimes. And sometimes strangers fuck with strangers just for the fucking fun of it. So that's the fact that you're gonna make mistakes. You know, maybe you don't, but like for most people, it's normal. For people who don't have social anxiety, okay, accepting the fact that people who don't have social anxiety still get embarrassed, make mistakes, trip and fall, feel pain. I don't know. What else is there? Like, get sad, mad, angry, get in awkward or weird situations, whatever. You know, all these things, it's just a part of life. And people without social anxiety, even social anxiety, I'm pretty sure everybody gets social anxiety. But if there are people who don't get social anxiety, they do still get scared. You know, if they're gonna do something scary, like jumping off a bridge, like unless you've jumped off a lot of bridges and, you know, you're the type of person that can do backflips and dive into the water and everything, then it might not be very scary for you. But my point is that feeling all these different feelings is completely normal, okay? And just because you get rid of social anxiety, it doesn't mean that you've like pushed your boundaries and, you know, grown as a person like once and for all. That's what a lot of, you know, like so-called negative like things are good for. Is like self-growth and getting out of your comfort zone and stuff like that. Like, you know, it's you can transmute a lot of those things into positive energy, such as social anxiety. You know, you can transmute social anxiety into a positive social feeling. You can transmute the fear of heights into having fun when you jump off of a bridge or go rock climbing or something. Trying to drive. the biggest thing that I'm currently wondering about is like whether or not I should practice getting over social anxiety. Like, I don't know if I actually have it that bad. I want to create more friends, and if I'm gonna just like go to some club and like hit up some random people, you know, randomly, that's something that would definitely generate social anxiety. And so then I might have to like practice like dealing with social anxiety or like getting over social anxiety before I go and do something like that. Not sure. The number one thing, the absolute number one thing when it comes to social anxiety, besides just accepting the fact that we're all human, we make mistakes, and we get sad and things like that, the number one thing is that we're always on the same page. Everybody's always on the same page, okay? Even if it's being on the same page about not being on the same page. Like, so for example, if you're saying something that doesn't make sense to the other person, you're still, or, you know, say, for example, you say something and you're not really on the same page, as in, they don't really get what you're saying, you know? You two will both still know that, and so you'll both be on the same page in that way, that you both know that the listener doesn't understand what the person who's saying things is trying to say. Okay? That's step one. That's like step one. Well, okay. Step one is understanding that we're all human and that we all make mistakes and all these things. Step two is understanding that everybody's always on the same page. Even if they're on the same page over a misunderstanding. Okay? Why is number two so important? Because of number one. Because there will be misunderstandings. There will be mistakes made. And all these different things. And as long as we're all on the same page, which we are, always on some level, then, you know, there's going to be, you know, say you tripped and you fell, and you and the other person are on the same page, on the same page, about, you know, the fact that you tripped and fell, right? Like if the person was right in front of you and they watched you fall, then you're both on the same page over the fact that you fell. Okay? Now, we all have eyes, okay? We all have eyes. If anybody sees you make a mistake, okay? If anybody sees you make a mistake, just know that you're on the same page as them, okay? Just know that you know that you know that they know that you made a mistake, and accept it, because it's a part of being human, okay? Alright? And if you can't do that, then you gotta do it over the fact that you can't. Well, you don't have to, but you can. You can if you want. If you think that, not being able to eliminate the anxiety is like a mistake, then know that you know see, at that point, it's like, I was gonna say, know that you know that the other person knows that you have anxiety, but that might not be the case unless you have really bad anxiety. Unless you have really bad anxiety to where, like, it's really obvious to the people around you, then it doesn't even really matter. It's not really something to worry about, I don't think. Or, you definitely don't have to take it to that second level there where you're telling yourself you know that the other people know, because they might not actually know that you have anxiety. And literally just, once you figure out why these steps are the keys to beating or to understanding social anxiety. Well, beating social anxiety, I guess. Ultimately, like, okay, so after you understand the first two things, which everybody, like, subconsciously already understands, okay? People who just, never mind. Once you understand those two things, then it really just comes down to how much you're able to facilitate that knowledge. And the more you understand those two steps, the easier and easier it's gonna be to be able to retain or facilitate the knowledge. Like, if I just made a video where I said, step one, or like number one, people make mistakes, and experience things like that. Number two, we're all on the same page to a certain extent. Or we're all on the same page in some way. If that's all I said, okay, I think I'm engaged enough now. I don't need to be yelling anymore. Okay, anyways. Yeah, if all I said was, number one, number two, and I didn't try to explain it at all or anything like that, then it would be very hard for the person listening to accept what I said and to be able to integrate it and whatnot. Basically, like, what I plan on doing is I'm gonna focus on the meaning behind number 1 and number 2, and you know why they are what they are, and like how I came to those conclusions and this stuff, basically so that I can like memorize it and whatnot and like integrate it and stuff. Like I say memorize because I feel like I'm gonna have to repeat, especially the second one, that we're all on the same page. Like, I have my reasoning for that one, like, probably a lot better inside of my head than what I've been able to share on video. But I don't know, it's all in all, it's really a combination between the two, right? It's really a combination. So here's what you gotta do. You gotta combine the two. You literally have to combine the two into one thing, okay? And then that's what you have to somehow like memorize and lodge into your head.